What is up, Financial Freedom Fast fam? It is Friday, which means that I'm just going to do a solo rip today. We are going to go over some actionable steps that you can take to make an immediate effect in your financial future, because that is what we are all about on the Financial Freedom Fast podcast, is getting to financial freedom fast. And the tip that I am going to bring you today is definitely a tip that I utilized in my career that accelerated my financial future and helped me to be able to quit my job, leave my job, and survive off of my cash flow, my passive cash flow. And that's what financial freedom is all about, building that passive cash flow, being able to cover your expenses with it. That is the way, the easiest, quickest way to get to financial freedom. So let's dig into it a little bit. Let's jump to the pod. Today, what we are going to talk about is increasing your income. What is the fastest way that we can do that? And now, before we go into how we can increase our income and the actual actionable steps that you can take to literally double your income, if not double, increase it by 30, 40, 50% within the next year, we want to talk about why do we want to increase our income? There's the obvious answer, right? More money is better. More money, more problems. I guess they say that too, right? But I think you have more problems when you have to wake up every single day and go to a job that you really don't want to go to. So once you have a little more money, you could have some less problems. So that's what we're all about. Why do we want more money? We want more money. We want our job to make us more money, because when our job makes us more money, we're going to take home more cash. We're going to have more cash. And now, when we keep our expenses stable, when we increase our income and we keep our expenses at the same level, we are saving more money. The delta there is greater. Now, we want to save more money because the more money we have, the more assets we can buy. The more assets that we can buy, the more cash flow that we can build for ourselves. The more cash flow that we build for ourselves, that we create into a passive income, or an income that we really don't have to do too much to build. Boom, we're working ourselves closer and closer to financial freedom, aka sleeping in till 9:30 every day if you want to. This past week, Monday, I slept in till I wasn't feeling well. I'm just gonna say that, but I slept in till 12:30, and there wasn't a problem. Today, I slept in until 9 o'clock. There was no problem. Yeah, a few times this week. There are some days I have to wake up a little earlier, talk with my networking groups, times like that. But I like sleep. I like to not have to go anywhere and be at the whim of someone else and have someone else tell me when I have to get up and what I have to do. So that's what financial freedom can bring you. So, how do we increase our income so we can buy more assets? Let's jump into it. I'm going to start with a story here. When I first graduated, I was making $55,000 a year. I was working in sales, and I didn't get any commission for my first 6 months. That was a guarantee. I knew that going into it because it was a training position. I was coming out of college, but I'm making $55,000 a year. It's good. It's not enough for me to be happy and save a ton of money to be able to buy assets, but I was still spending less than that, right? So 55,000, I was bringing home about 4,000 cash every month, which was good to have, but I was only spending around 2,600 to 3,200 every single month. So I did have some savings that I was building up there, but the more cash I could make, the more savings I could bring in. So what would happen if I stayed at that job? I would be able, and let me actually jump it back. I'm making 55,000 6 months in. My company decides to do a ton of layoffs. I see someone that I worked pretty close with that was my age get laid off. Now, I worked pretty hard during those 6 months, like 50 hours a week. I know that's not hard for some people, but for me, it was hard. I'm not a super hard worker, but I'm making 55,000 and I see someone get laid off. I didn't get laid off. I got offered a new position. That new position did not come with a salary increase. That's 6 months into my job. Most people aren't looking for a salary increase, but I at 6 months, but I wasn't cool with 55,000. So what I did and what let's say I stayed at that job, right? Maybe at 1 year they offered me a salary increase. Now, what is the average salary increase in the US? The average salary increase, you know what? I'm going to get the exact stat on this. One, boom. I just found the average salary increase in the US, and this is for 2023, which, mind you, inflation is higher than this. The average salary increase is 4.6%. That I was hoping it was going to be more than that. The average salary increase in the US is 4.6%. That is pathetic. So let's say with my $55,000 job, I'm not going to go with that 4.6%. I'm going to say that they were going to give me a 10% increase. So if they were going to give me a 10% increase, that's going to put my salary to $60,500, going from 55,000 to $60,500, an increase of $5,500. That is not acceptable to me. What is an extra $5,000 when I get taxed on that? When I get taxed on that, I'm paying around 20% in taxes. So let's say that 5,500 brings me an extra $4,000 in a year. So divide that by 12. That brings me $300 every month. Nice. $300 a month. I can go buy I don't know, extra nicer groceries. Great. I could go out to a bar 2 more times during the month. Nothing special. What I want is I want a big jump. So what I started to do is I looked around to other jobs and I started applying to jobs 6 months in. Now that I had this experience and I was trained up by another company, there was another sales a company in a similar niche that was willing to hire me. So I interviewed for this company, I got the job, and my salary got increased to 67,000 base plus commissions. So now instead of staying at the job where I probably would have gotten a 5% raise, but let's call it I got a 10% raise where I would be making 60,000. Now I'm making $67,000 and I get commissions on top of that. But let's keep looking at the goal. The goal is to increase that income. I had no intention, even though I may have told HR, yeah, I have intentions on building with your company. I had no intentions of building with that company. They were merely a stepping stone for me to build more income. So after that, I went to another company 6 months in, and mind you, I worked hard. I made not that hard though, honestly. Like I was working, it's a remote job. I was working like 15 hours a week, but I made myself a top performer, a high performer in that company. And I looked good to other companies because I got an award and whatever. 6 months in, I'm looking good. So 67K. Let's say instead of a 5% raise, we actually ended up getting a 20% raise at this company at 6 months in. That would push me from $67,000 a month or $67,000 annual salary to $80,400 annual salary. So about a jump of $13,000. Was that good? It's not going to do much for me. It's really not going to do much. It's not going to help me buy another property because I'm making an extra 10, taking home an extra 10,000 cash every year. And plus it's over a year. I got to wait to get that money.